Today is the 10th day of Tevet, which is a very meaningful fast day. It's the day that the Babylonians laid siege upon Jerusalem in the year 588 BCE, which ultimately led to the penetration of the walls and ultimately to the destruction of the temple on Tisha B'Av. Now, there has been a Jewish community in Babylonia after the Jews were exiled to Babylonia from about 2,500 years ago. And up until recently, there has always been a Jewish community for 25 centuries. And I want to show you a very special Torah that we have here at the Palm Beach Synagogue. This Torah was donated to us by Tony Bayer, in loving memory of his grandfather, Mr. Mendel. And this Torah, as you can see, is a very unique Torah that was written in Iraq about 400 to 500 years ago. And what's so special about this Torah is that it was given as a gift to the Palm Beach Synagogue after the invasion of Iraq in 2003. A Jewish American soldier, when they took over the palace of Saddam Hussein, found this Torah amongst other scrolls in Saddam Hussein's palace. It was in a silver case, and so to rescue it, he took the parchment out of the case and put it in one of his backpacks and brought it to Israel. And this Torah was brought to Israel, and the scribes reviewed it and made sure that everything was kosher. And as you can see, the script is very, very beautiful. And we still read from this Torah here at the Palm Beach Synagogue very often. And it's a magnificent Torah that dates back 400 to 500 years, but it's part of an ancient history of Jews in Iraq that goes back for 2,500 years. And the reason I'm showing you this Torah today is because today is the day the Babylonians exiled the Jews, began the siege of Jerusalem, which led to the Jews being exiled into Babylonia. And for 2,500 years, there was a Jewish community there up until recently. Of course, after 1948, Jews had to start leaving Iraq, and today there's no more Jews in Iraq. But when you look at a Torah that's 400 or 500 years old, like this Torah, you realize that hundreds of years, celebrations, Shabbat, Simchas Torahs, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, wedding ceremonies, chatans being called to the Torah, fathers being called to name their new babies after having a baby girl, generations and generations of Jews stood by this Torah that now we have the privilege of reading from at the Palm Beach Synagogue. And I think this should help us understand the magnitude of the tragedy of the 10th day of Tevet, which led to the destruction of the temple. That there were thousands of years of Jews who were exiled, starting with the Babylonian exile. And these Jews lived all over the world because the temple, our homeland, was destroyed. And their lives were shattered. Thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of Jews were murdered during the time of the exiles. And as a result of that, Jews were scattered all over the world. But we've always held on to this Torah. And the Torah is what kept us the Jewish nation. And so when we think about what we're mourning today and what we're fasting about and why it's such an important fast, we're remembering the fact that we're in exile, that our homeland was taken from us. And even though we've returned in our day and age, we are still very much under siege in all the countries that we live in. Anti-Semitism, even Israel is always under attack. And therefore we have to pray for a day when God will send redemption and there will be peace and harmony in the world once again. And so think about today the history of the Jewish people, our long exiles, and what we can do to hasten the ultimate redemption. Have a meaningful fast.